control. The zones are yours if you fight for them, Guardian.
And what is up everyone, Sir Dr. K here, and welcome to my final Destiny 2 open beta video. It certainly was a fun time playing Destiny 2, covering it on the channel, but unfortunately it has come to an end. So in this video I just want to share my overall thoughts on the beta, the game as a whole, and let you know if you can expect to see more Destiny 2 in the future, or in other words, if I'm going to buy it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Although the first thing I want to mention is that, of course, I am not a hardcore video game critic. I consider myself a casual gamer, and so these thoughts are not going to be the most in-depth thoughts that you can find on YouTube, but I still think it would be interesting to get my thoughts out there, let you know what I think, so let's do it. Now, the first thing I noticed about Destiny 2, of course, is that it looked really good. By default, my computer was running it on medium settings, which still looked really good and ran quite well. After I did my other 3 videos on it, where I just had live gameplay of the first day that it was released as the open beta, after those videos I actually tinkered with the settings a bit more, was able to find the FPS indicator and get that enabled, and I was able to crank it up to high settings, and it looked, well, theoretically even better. It wasn't a major difference, but it still ran very nicely. It still ran at a pretty much rock solid 60 FPS, and it wasn't pegging the video RAM usage at 100%, which is great. You know, my 960 by modern standards actually isn't that powerful, especially with just 2 gigabytes of video RAM. So the fact that it was able to play a brand new game in pre-release at high settings is quite impressive. It's really nice to see a new game, even still in the beta phase, that actually has some pretty good optimization and runs well. In fact, the optimization is so good that I was able to run it on my basic home theater PC, and its specs are about half the recommended specs for Destiny 2, but it still actually ran pretty well once I turned down the render scale, but still, up until the really busy areas of that first mission, it still ran pretty impressively well. So optimization gets a thumbs up from me. And of course, the graphics as a whole looks very nice. All of the models are very crisp and detailed. The animations are fluid. They feel natural and lifelike, and just kind of bring you into that universe really effectively. But better than just looking nice, the art style wasn't too grotesque. A while back, they had a free weekend in Doom on Steam, and I downloaded it and tried it out. Graphics looked really nice, and the gameplay was nice, but I didn't like how gruesome and grotesque the gameplay was, which I guess, you know, Half-Life, Black Mesa, those are pretty grotesque, but I don't know, I didn't really get into the art style. It was a bit too red, a bit too bloody, a bit too gory for my tastes. Destiny 2 has really good graphics, and of course it is a violent game. You are shooting at enemies, but it's not super bloody, super gory, any of that stuff, as you can tell from the footage that I have on the site. Also, the multi-core utilization was very impressive. On my 12-thread Ryzen 1600X, it was pretty much using all threads equally, which is pretty impressive. Not many games do that. Secondly, the gameplay. I know in the initial videos that I did, there was some confusion. The reloading felt like it was a bit inconsistent, and some other things didn't quite seem to mesh right. For whatever reason, those actually seemed to iron them out as I just played some more. I didn't consciously notice anything change, but it felt a lot better as I kept playing. Related to the gameplay, you might notice in the initial video there were those 3 classes that you chose from. I ended up choosing Titan for those videos, but I have briefly tried out the other classes, and it's actually pretty cool what you can do, because not only do you get to pick your class, but you can choose a subclass, and you can also choose your abilities within that subclass. So there's a lot of customization. Swap out weapons, tweak your weapons, tweak tweak your armor. There's a lot of customization, but it's worth noting that it's not the sort of customization that I've experienced in MOBAs, like Heroes of the Storm, which was just overwhelming. There was far too much for me to process. But in Destiny 2, it doesn't feel like it's a central gameplay mechanic, right? You can get by without going crazy on your character customization, but it's there and you can customize your stats, adjust your abilities, kind of suit it to your play style, which is really nice. In fact, I fully expected the Titan to be my favorite class, but when I was playing through as the Hunter, especially after I played around with the weapons that I had equipped, it actually was really fun to play as the Hunter, and I didn't get much time with the Cleric, but I did enjoy what little time I spent with that. Now, as shown in my videos, you have 3 basic game modes. You have the campaign, which in the open beta, you just had the first mission, basically. You had co-op multiplayer, again, just the first mission. And you also had PvP in quick play or competitive, just one map during the open beta period. Now, I like the diversity there. It's really nice because, like, in Overwatch, it's a really fun game, awesome art style, lots of good stuff going on, but it's just PvP, and sometimes you're just not feeling like a PvP game. Destiny 2 is nice in that they have single player as well as multiplayer co-op as well as multiplayer competitive. Super nice to have those options. I enjoyed all 3 game modes. I will mention that the first time I tried quick play, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, but the second time that I tried it, after doing much more co-op missions and playing through the campaign a few more times, I actually did really well, and my team managed to win, and it felt like I was pretty much on top of things. I obviously wasn't a pro, but it felt pretty good to actually be effective in, well, taking out the enemy and securing objectives and things like that. I still don't entirely understand how their quick play game mode is set up, what the objectives are, what exactly you need to do to win, but I got enough of an idea to help my team win, and it was quite fun. Story, of course, is something that I can't comment on too much since we just had the first chapter of the story. But from that first chapter, it was certainly interesting. There were some fun characters. There was that rather sassy cyborg hunter that we meet right off the bat in that opening cinematic part. And there seemed to be some pretty well fleshed out characters that weren't totally explored in the first mission, of course, but definitely seemed like they were hinting at some more in-depth character exploration and development. But of course, I'm not great at picking apart a story. That's not my speciality, so I won't comment on it too much, but it seemed pretty cool. And of course, the important question: will I be getting Destiny 2? I'm pretty sure I will. It was a lot of fun. I have at least 2 brothers that are going to get it. So of course, if we all have the game, then we can do some co-op, and that would be pretty fun. Plus, just the campaign, that's something that I do want to continue to play through. It was very enjoyable, looked nice. So yeah, the open beta was a lot of fun. I definitely want to keep playing it, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it. I haven't pre-ordered it yet, but I probably will. I do still have a month and a half during which I can continue to think about it, but you can probably expect more Destiny 2 content on the channel once it comes out in October. October 24th, if I remember correctly. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, my thoughts on the Destiny 2 open beta. Definitely let me know in the comments down below if you have any specific questions, any specific aspects of the game that you'd like to know my thoughts on. And of course, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe as you see fit. Helpful feedback is always appreciated. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will figuratively see you in the next one.